versus money.
Really?
Oh my god, it's so hilarious. We were like crying laughing watching this.
I think
Make us proud over the weekend.
Oh my god, I don't have any.
They were saying the level of the girls' hotness versus the level of crazy.
That's this.
That's great.
I love the reason that I enjoy Star Wars content. Like, I mean, the stories themselves can be kind of hit or miss sometimes, but I love the sense of exploration.
But to answer your other question, yes, Fred is extremely judgmental. That's why we work so well together.
Fred is alive, right?
Yeah, he is currently alive. Yes, we can send Fred. Oh, Fred's not here. I'll check on Fred, my Fred.
Like, and I get it. Like, he was like waving his arm, like kind of looked like pissing, but like, yeah.
He thought I was kidding. I was like, you're supposed to be in here, Fred's
Over
over.
helmet, and he wasn't over his shoulder pad.
Anywho, is he coming? Fred is at a conference. No, Brad. He said he would check it. I'm like, okay.
Then it's like any, I read something where you said any waving hand.
Anywho,
We'll hear it.
6 o'clock.
Is it over the head?
I'd like to welcome everybody to our Monday, October 23rd, 2023 Cascade City Council meeting. I would have a call to order with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Kelchin.
Here.
Roush.
Here.
Hush.
Here.
Delaney.
Here.
Oliphant. Here.
I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Kelchin.
Second.
Aye.
Number 5, public comment. You have a limit of 3 minutes per person on agenda items and local government issues.
Just one to thank the city workers for the bang-up job they did on the north side of the pool there. If you're going to try to do some mitigation in their rain garden or something, they did such a nice job of it that it's going to be more possible.
Awesome. Thanks for the feedback,
Thank you.
Shirley.
Number 6, consent agenda, review and approve the following. Minutes, City Council 10/9/23, Utility Board 10/11/23, October 23rd, 2023 claims. If there's no questions, any concerns? I need a motion on the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion on the consent agenda.
Motion by Oliphant,
Second.
second by Delaney. Roll call.
Kelchin.
Aye.
Roush.
Aye.
Hush.
Aye.
Delaney.
Aye.
Oliphant. Aye.
Number 7, open public hearing on library construction.
So we have Michael and Christy are here from FEH. As the council knows, back in, or September, excuse me, the council rejected all the bids due to the high price. We have spent a lot of time with the design committee, going over various things, really spending a lot of time with Mike Beck and Bucky Modernock, you know, as our local contractors that bid on it, you know, to make sure that what we believe we're cutting is the number that it would have come up at. I think that from Mike's opinion, hopefully the number is, he feels confident that the number that we're giving in terms of the cuts that we believe this list will make is actually conservative, meaning that it could be even larger than the dollar amounts. But, you know, I guess the biggest issue is it looks different, and so sometimes that's kind of a hard thing to understand. But I think what was important was that the main amenities in the building, like the building's not really going to be different than it was. There's still the same size community center, the same size children's portion of the library. There's a teen center. There's the same amenities when you walk in for the staff, various things. Obviously, we lost the attic storage space, but I think that based on the height of the ceiling, people were pretty concerned if it was really practical to really go up on a set of ladders that pull down like garage stairs. So the thing that we kind of did at the 2 meetings ago was there's a small portion on the northwest corner that we sort of had like a little L-shaped room, and so we actually were able to square that off. And that was an idea that I think someone from the committee had, and then Mike and Bucky again thought it was a good idea, because really, minus a few little bits of brick on that side and then a concrete pad, it made up and probably is better practical storage than the attic would have provided anyway, which was one of the concerns. Obviously, a big thing will be that whole change to the roof made the largest savings, along with the second largest savings, or maybe there's kind of about the same, was the geothermal. Most of the heat, I think, will be rooftop units now, so it'll be sectioned off. And they added additional R value to the roof insulation, I think from a 30 to a 40. So that really that'll also provide for more efficiency within the building that I know you had talked about, Andy. So I don't know if Christie or Michael, you want to come up and see what else I kind of missed, or if the council has questions for you. But the goal for tonight during this hearing is to get any feedback from the public. And then, assuming once we close the public hearing that the council would like to proceed with the second round of bidding.
Lisa, do you need a motion to go into public hearing?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'll
We
make a
need a
motion.
motion to go out of regular session into a public hearing.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Roush, second by Hush. Roll call. Kelchin. Roll call.
Oliphant?
Aye.
Kelchin?
Aye.
Roush?
Aye.
Hush?
Aye.
Delaney?
We're in public hearing.
Sorry. All that, what I just said.
Yeah, I was just gonna reiterate what Lisa said, and that the committee's worked very hard, and so you should have a copy of the cost-saving measures in your packet, and it shows, potential savings of over $1 million, and like Lisa said, I'm not gonna say it out loud, but we're trying to be as conservative as we can, so, the goal is to bring the number back in alignment with, our expectation and with what's been fundraised. The exterior is gonna look a little different, but in terms of functionality, like Lisa mentioned, the storage space will be much more functional. And with the elimination of the geothermal system, there will actually be less equipment in the mechanical room, so that will actually be more storage space for the library.
Another acknowledgement that I did not bring up yet is that the utility board had their meeting last week, and they are being incredibly generous. They are agreeing to pay for all of the light poles, which if you remember, they were like $7,000 each. We're trying to get that cost down with some new vendors. But they were $7,000 a piece times 5 of them, and they're also willing to pay for the transformer, which will be a significant cost. So we're looking at somewhere between $35,000 and probably $55,000 that the utility board has approved at their last meeting to pay for.
That is incredibly generous.
Yeah,
Wow.
so if
Thank
you see any of the board members,
Yeah,
please,
every bit helps, right?
Yeah.
right, express their thanks. So we have that. And we've called for the alternate on Pierce Street, because you'll recall that I want to possibly look at that coming from street improvement funds. So I want to make sure that we have an accurate number, that we're not under, overcharging that amount, even if you know, at least you know the max that something else could pay for, even if you decide like, hey, this comes within reason and we're going to charge, you know, let's just make up a number, it comes to $40,000. If we feel like 20 of it could go to the library and that they get more parking on most days, that you want to charge a little bit, but that's, at least we know what that dollar amount is. So there's that. I don't know if the council has any questions. I know, Andy, you brought up at the last meeting having concerns about the furniture. I think we talked about that concern at the meeting and are going to do our due diligence immediately after we start doing this. The concern is that that market changes very quickly. So if you order something today, like, it might not even be around unless you can like literally order it and have a place to store it, which we obviously don't. And so, but we do intend to immediately after this process to get going on that, so that we have time to process through that as well.
Yeah, go through different options for the furniture, and shelving is shelving, but there are a lot of opportunities for variation within the end panels and stuff like that. So, Yep.
And then as far as HVAC units, there's multiple. We're not just on one unit, that
They'll be spread out.
they're redundant
I
a
believe
little
we're
bit.
talking about 3 pre-packaged units that would be on the roof, one to, and then one on either side of the tall roof of the library itself. So,
And then I'm not an HVAC person, but I feel like when I was talking to Mike Beck about it, he also talked about the fact that however that works, that when it calls for cooler air, like you're not always turning on the air conditioning. Does that make sense? When it calls for cooler air, and so there's also more efficiencies with units like that where it can be like venting when it's like that in-between weather and not actually have to.
yep, it pulls directly from the exterior when needed, so it's got dampers that allow a bit more flexibility. Yep.
Does anybody have any questions? Otherwise, again, the goal for tonight would be to proceed if the council is willing. And then again, the timeline that I tried to spell out here in your memo on page 9 was the documents would then be available in a couple weeks here. End of next week, I guess it is. And then we'd have a pre-bid meeting right away on the 8th. A slightly shorter turnaround on November 30th is when the bids would be due, with the goal of approving it on November 11th. We'll talk at the next meeting about, I think last year we canceled our second meeting in December. If we do want to have it for some reason, it needs to, at least the date be changed, because our meeting would actually be on Christmas Day. So,
I mean, you can meet if you want to, but I'm not sure.
yeah, I don't think anyone will be here. And then the other kind of urgency, obviously this is a good time for bidding, hopefully. But also we have that loan that was approved through SIPCO, and that has to be closed by the end of the year. So I've kind of been pushing that off. They know that we would then have those 2 to 3 weeks at the end of the year to close on that loan. So if there's no other questions, then we could.
No questions?
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christie. Thank you, Michael.
I need a motion to close public hearing, go into a regular session.
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
Motion by Delaney,
I'll second.
second by Oliphant. Roll call.
Kelchin.
Aye.
Roush.
Aye.
Hush.
Aye.
Delaney.
Aye.
Oliphant.
Aye.
Number 9, consideration of resolution number 77-23 to approve library construction plans and authorize invitation to bid. If there's no questions, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion on resolutions. Oh, was there a question? I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, okay.
I do have a question though.
Okay.
When we do events like this, do we require like any, like when we close off Main Street, like?
Wait, we're doing the library still.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
I'm one ahead.
Just
I'll
like I
make a-
skipped the opening of the public hearing.
Motion on resolution 77-23.
Motion by
Second.
Oliphant, second by Kelchin. Roll call.
Roush.
Aye.
Hush.
Aye.
Delaney.
Aye.
Oliphant.
Aye.
Kelchin.
Aye.
Number 10, consideration to approve a road closure, Cascade Elementary Trunk or Treat, 10/30/23 on Harrison Street Southeast, from 4:45 to 6:45 p.m.
Riley has. a
Riley.
I have a question. Okay, so like when we close like Main Street, like we always have vehicles parked on either end, plus the yellow barricades. Do we require anything like that when we would close a street like this? I'm just trying to look out,
Yeah.
especially kids.
Yeah,
Lot
I
of
don't, we can certainly put that in our approval to them.
Okay.
Will the city guys help with that?
Oh,
Oh, they have barricades needed, yes, on here.
yeah, no, they'll get, we would bring them regular barricades, because I think the yellow fencing we said was only for like liquor license people, remember?
Got it.
But we can bring them the 2 they're called Class 3 barricades, which have the 3 lines across them. So they're reflective, and then, yeah, we'll encourage them to put somebody's
cars or
vehicles at the
something,
end.
just-
It's a more narrow right-of-way, so you don't need like a big thing like a loader,
Yep.
like you would on First Avenue. But yeah, we can put that in their letter.
One other thing is, I know we already changed the ordinance to, or updated the ordinance to give Lisa approval if it had previously been done. But like something like this, does this really need to come to the council?
I wouldn't think so.
I
I
just.
think we transitioned because before you had every one of them coming all the time.
They all did, yeah.
And so instead of just being like, okay, but, you know, I mean, obviously, we're working,
I mean, this is a side street. This isn't Main Street. To me, this is a no-brainer that you should just be able to approve this.
that's fine.
Makes it easier.
I think it makes it easier and much better,
You want-
easier for people to plan
It's a
ahead.
second, it's another set of eyes. Like Riley had that question.
And like the only other thing is too is that by coming to the council, like it's made public, like everybody know, like.
That it's an
everybody should know about it,
advertisement.
you
Good
know what I
point.
mean?
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
I mean,
It's advertised this way.
yeah.
at least for the first time, like,
sure.
and the only reason it probably seems like there's been a lot is because we've had the 2 night markets, like, there's just been more stuff downtown recently.
Well, and I
Yeah.
guess next year they won't need to come to,
Exactly.
this won't need to come to the
Should've
council.
been
Okay,
there.
yeah, I'm fine with that. Thank
A couple
you.
years ago.
Any other
Yeah,
questions?
just like every meeting.
If no questions, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Oliphant,
I'll second.
second by Roush. Roll call.
Hush.
Aye.
Delaney.
Aye.
Oliphant.
Aye.
Kelchin.
Aye.
Roush.
Aye.
Number 11, consideration of resolution number 79-23 to approve Mike Beck plat for condos on Mulberry Drive.
So the resolution is on page 16, plat on 17. You'll recall that we changed the ordinance because we really didn't properly address what the square footage would be when you have those interior condos. And even up like on the northwest corner in the lumberyard, there was things being divided. So we had like a legal lot, and then when we were subdividing things, when people wanted to purchase condos, instead of having like an owner that rents out both sides or rents out one and owns one, once they were being split, they weren't really compliant before, and those were all getting approved. So what we did in that last ordinance change a couple months ago was that the interior lots now have to be 40 feet at a minimum, which in this case, interior lots are 2 and 5. So you'll see they're both 44 feet of frontage where they had to be 40. And then the exterior ones, because remember, they're in 3-packs, so you obviously can't see the buildings there, but 1, 2, 3 are connected, and 4, 5, 6 are connected. So we had a requirement when I issued their building permit, that between 3 and 4, there had to be 16 feet, so that our side setback is 8 feet. So 4 feet could be assigned to 3, or 8 feet could be assigned to 4, and 8 feet could be assigned to 3. And then at the top of 1 and the bottom of 6, there's also 8 feet from the buildings. So, and those exterior lots, as we call them, which would be 1, 3, 4, 6, have to be 50 feet. And you can see that there's a slight variation, with the smallest being like the 5289, 53s, 54s. So those have to be a minimum of 50. So planning and zoning reviewed this as required when there's a plat of more than dividing anything into 2. And they are recommending to the council for approval.
Is there any questions on this? Seeing none, I need a motion on resolution number 79-23.
I'll make a motion on 79-23.
Motion by Oliphant,
Second?
second by Kelchin. Roll call.
Delaney?
Aye.
Oliphant?
Aye.
Kelchin?
Aye.
Roush?
Aye.
Hush.
Number 12, consideration of resolution number 78-23 to approve First Avenue East crack sealing contract with Kleesner Construction in the amount of $18,171.47 or $23,027.44.
Mr. Mayor, before we get on that, I think Andy had talked to me a little bit before, and perhaps because of number 15,
Correct.
and some of the things that came up on that, if the council's okay, we kind of want to, there's no action on 15, but we'd like to include item 15, the bridge repairs, as a
Alternate for
discussion
that.
with number 12, because he's got some ideas on maybe some way, and then that might mean why we spend the smaller amount for this.
That would
So we'll
work.
kind of combine the discussion on 15
That
with
works.
12. All right, Andy, you want to bring up your,
So, if I, just talking about one of the bridges, I guess now, the one on Aitchison Street or Tyler Road, or
The-
Aitchison Road or Tyler Street.
The double box.
The double
culvert.
box culvert, that the one side's silted in, if you've seen the pictures. I just wonder if we don't want to go out and try to solicit bids to get that side of the box culvert cleaned this time of year, just because it's been fairly dry year. It'd be easy to get in there. We don't know what next year could bring as far as rain events. It'd be easy to get in there to get it cleaned out. We had talked about it at previous council meetings that it would probably take a contractor with a skid steer to go in there, get it dug
Take it
out.
out.
Steve talked that maybe the material gets put on the
Inlet
south
side.
side, on the inlet south side to divert the water to help push it to the north side a little bit so it flows evenly between the two. There's not a lot of water flow through there right now.
Yeah.
So I don't think you'd get much water flowing through either side, but we need to have both sides cleaned out.
If you
And-
don't change the channel, that north side's gonna keep filling in.
Yeah. But I just think it might be something worthwhile to look at, to take the lower crack sealing amount and put that additional money towards cleaning that out, just because it's dry.
I apologize. Where is this at?
so when you're driving out towards his
River
subdivision
Bend.
by Riverbend, there's a big culvert out
Got
there
it.
in
Okay,
Tyler. So
thank
it doesn't
you.
look like a bridge.
Right by the
So
Legion.
this needs to be
ballpark.
cleaned out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because of the size of the culvert, it's considered a bridge when it
Yep.
comes to DOT.
Okay.
Like, people are like, what do you mean? We don't have 3 bridges, we have 2. And I'm like, wow. Because of the
culvert.
gapingness under that, if that were to ever collapse. So,
Where's the second bridge?
Monroe
on the way
Street.
to his shop,
Yep.
on Monroe Street. By the little mini storage.
the
So
same-
past
North of
Casey's.
Casey's.
Got it.
Same
Yeah.
waterway.
Yeah, you can kind of basically miss it.
But I think there's like a little, isn't there a little side,
More, or more.
Yep.
creek.
is there a little,
Oh, it's an actual bridge on the way out to Monroe.
yeah.
This is a box culvert. I don't know.
It's just because of the size of it and that there is, like, it acts like a bridge. So if this
Yeah.
were to fail, the
It u-
road collapses as opposed to having a
Yeah.
solid road. So that's why it's a bridge. Got it.
It's
It
just
used to be a bridge,
Yeah, and it, because it said
Was
in the report,
replaced.
it was reconstructed in
Yeah.
'05
quite a while back.
or something. Yeah, I think it was '05 is what the report said, but I just think it's a good time, potentially a good time right now
Yeah.
to do it this fall yet, if we can find a contractor to do it.
Okay. So then based on that, Andy, you're recommending let's go with the littler amount? And
Correct.
just stop at Fox Street for the crack ceiling?
Correct.
Okay.
If there's no other questions, I need a motion to that effect.
One question I had, when was the last time we actually did the crack ceiling then?
It was just a couple years ago on the
Couple years
west
ago,
end,
so.
right?
Okay,
On the west side, no.
It was like from the city limits to the bridge.
the bridge,
It
okay.
was one chunk.
So yes, we're missing out on a
That-
few blocks of it.
Yeah.
You'll be missing from Fox Street to the, they would have gone to the
Laundromat.
laundromat.
There's no reason we can't look at that though next year. It's
Yeah,
just,
spring or-
this might be, it's dry
Yeah,
for once.
no, I agree.
So I need a motion on this.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Motion by Oliphant,
Second.
second by Kelchin, roll call.
Oliphant?
Aye.
Kelchin?
Aye.
Roush?
Aye.
Hush?
Aye.
Delaney?
Number 13, consideration of resolution number 81-23 to accept the 2023 Rural Child Care Planning Grant in the amount of $10,000.
So you'll recall that Ackland was here. We talked to them about applying for this grant. The matching amount is $5,000, which will either come from the school or the daycare center. And there were also some generous business donors that I don't remember exactly how much, but I believe somewhere around at least $1,000. And then there were a couple other businesses that said if we get it, they would consider donating for the match. So assuming that the council proceeds with this tonight, I'm going to attend the daycare committee meeting on Friday to kind of help them understand, since they have a new director that started just a week ago today. So they understand kind of what the different roles are. I emailed the consultant as well to find out, again, get a better understanding of who's going to do what to help them with what is officially being called a business plan. So the council had supported me applying for it, so I would
That's good.
assume we'll proceed.
Yeah, congrats on getting the
Yeah.
grant. I just,
Just to, I guess you should clarify a little bit. This isn't costing the city anything
was just my
except
time.
your time.
that was
Yes.
my next question. Thank you.
Yes.
Right,
I
and we're
just
not
want-
part of the
Confident that
cash.
there's not going to be any hidden costs coming in from
No,
this.
it's just Lisa's time writing it and Lisa
For
helping.
filling out,
Applying
right,
for it.
Okay.
just time,
Time.
but we don't have to put any cash in.
If nothing else, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion
to
by
approve resolution. Yeah.
I'll second.
Second by Roush, roll call.
Kelchin?
Aye.
Roush?
Aye.
Hush?
Aye.
Delaney?
Aye.
Oliphant?
Aye.
Number 14, consideration of resolution number 82-23, personnel policy in regard to uniform allowance.
So as I explained, our uniform, a lot of times these uniform companies, before they invest in lots of clothes for you, they want to have a longer-term contract. So we had a contract that is expiring in October this month. And since I've been here, we have 4 employees, the 4 Public Works employees, that are under the contract with them, with city laundering, but only 2 of the 4 people wear their uniforms. And I feel like they are uncomfortable in them. They either talk about like how they fit. They obviously get shrunk a lot, so if you're, if they're at all fitting, normal fitting when you get them, by the time they've been washed in the insane amount of heat that those dryers are, and probably even the washers, they're uncomfortable. So we're really spending $1,500 a year for nothing. So on the utility side, they have started purchasing, and they obviously have a different situation with FR clothing, for fire-resistant clothing. They just provide them clothes so that they have some ability to pick out like the kinds of things that and then the guys have to wash them themselves. So the 2 that are not wearing the uniforms are already wearing their own clothes and washing them themselves. And so the amount that we're spending is $750, and my recommendation is, instead of wasting money on uniforms that sit in the shop and never get used, and then they still wear their own clothes, is that we can give them the option. The uniform company that we currently have doesn't care if we have 1, 2, or 4. And I also, if the council is, once you decide this, then I'll also look at possibly if there's other, I know that Andy's company in their uniforms has a different company, so we could go to them, kind of look at those things, but better to know, are we gonna, right, and the issue that you can see right now, it says that they're supposed to be wearing them. So for all the things that we can put the crackdown on with uniforms, like, I don't know that it's wise to say, and if we decide this, now you have to start wearing things that you're not comfortable in.
Right, I agree. I don't think that they should have to wear things that they're not comfortable in, but I just want to make sure that what they are wearing is appropriate for, and I'm assuming the guys all know what they need to
Yes.
wear, but it's,
Yep.
it's
And we'll have,
meets any
yes.
requirements that are necessary.
Yeah, we'll put stuff in there, like it has to be jeans, and obviously the boots are separate anyway. And then Andy had come in and talked earlier about, you know, like, how do we identify? Whereas like right now, they have their shirts, it's got a little patch on it and their name. What we got them this summer, just to kind of try to see how they liked it, was we bought them 5, each got 5 and the other thing is they have to be in high-vis colored stuff because of being in roadways. And so we bought them 5 high-vis t-shirts. Again, the guys that want to wear their own clothes wore them every day. They stayed reasonably clean. We talked about maybe getting them some hoodies. And then they have the city logo on them, and the logo's on the back as well.
I guess I just want to make sure we don't include fixed costs in that 750. I know we said, and because I got to think about that more after I left. I just want to make sure that it's not going to cost us more in the future. Like, we can't take the total amount we had divided by 4 guys, because we're still going to have that. There's still a service
drop-off
fee,
costs.
there's drop-off costs, there's, like, I looked at ours, there's environmental fees and everything in there. So I don't want to go in the hole because
Yeah,
2
no.
guys decide to keep them. If everybody decides to get rid of them, then that's fine. We could go that route. I just don't want to be,
That'd be easier.
I don't want it to cost us more in the long run. But I think there's a couple that want to stay with uniforms just for,
It's either going to be 1 with uniforms or 2. So I can double check.
The one that wants to stay with uniforms, are they very adamant that they stay with uniforms, or are they?
I think for them, they just don't like the idea of having to wash their own
Wash
clothes.
Sure,
clothes.
okay.
Whereas some are like, I don't really want to wear clothes that are washed by other people.
Yeah.
You know, it's just very,
Well, I remember when Fred worked at IMCO, I hated having to wash his clothes at home too, because you get all that oil in your washer and dryer and it's hard on it. But, so I do understand, you know, having
Yeah.
the service for them.
but the 2 that don't utilize the service are okay. So that's right, just to me, I struggle with sending that money to a company that literally does nothing for us. That just seems
Absolutely, I
way-
agree.
I guess, yeah, I don't necessarily want to agree on an amount. Let's make sure we have our costs figured out on our fixed costs versus the variable costs for
Yeah.
them.
I can email the guy
Switching.
again, but
Yeah.
I feel like we talked about that number with him, but yeah, I can bring it back in 2 more weeks.
Well, and we could even go lower than the 750 and say they get a $500 uniform budget for the year, but they have to turn in the receipts. You know, they're not currently getting anything, so $500 is going to be more than what they're currently getting. I mean, I also don't want to
Yeah.
shortchange the employees either, but.
Right. And the reality, though, is that, like, you're correct, the ones that aren't taking advantage of it are not getting anything, but I think, like, they're not gonna clothe themselves for $750 even, when you really look at, like, work jeans and how much they spend, and stuff like that, so I'd prefer we try to stay closer to that number, but if Andy feels like we wanna double check that there aren't chunks in those fees that don't decrease with 2 versus 4.
Yeah, I just know uniforms are economical option for the city. I mean, like, I figured out what ours are at work, and it's very economical to be wearing them,
Yeah.
so.
All right, so you want to bring it back in 2 weeks with a little more info?
So we don't need a vote?
Nope.
Okay. Number 15, discussion on bridge repairs report.
So again, we just got this. It's required every 2 years. This is the same company that's done them a few years. I don't know how far back, I didn't look, but for sure, they did 2021. So they came in July. It's required by the DOT to do these inspections, obviously from a safety perspective. I don't see that we really took and did anything on the 3 inspections in '21. So we will want to address some of those that are not just like the clearing out of the silt like we brought up at the last, when we were talking about the crack sealing. But we'll need to get some contractors in here. So I asked Origin kind of who in this area. I know that I've dealt with Lunda Construction, who does a lot of bridge work in Wisconsin, but I don't know if they come this far. So I need to find out kind of who does that. It's usually pretty specialized. It's not just regular construction companies.
That would be Schrader from Bellevue, Taylor from New Vienna. There's a couple other ones fairly close. Those would be the main two.
So anyway, then we can submit those. Where was Taylor from?
New Vienna.
New Vienna.
So we'll report back. I just didn't want it to be a surprise. Hopefully, we can get some numbers in time to talk about that when it comes to next year's budget. And then the other new requirement that will be coming as a second thing to this is that there's a new law that is in effect by the end of next year where all of your bridges have to be posted for emergency vehicle weights. So you have to do some kind of a weight analysis, weight limits for each bridge. And then by the end of '24, those have to be actually like a physical sign as you enter from both directions on a bridge. So the same, I hired Origin to get that done, and then we'll report back on that. But that's again a new IDOT. I think it's probably nationwide. I don't think it's just Iowa, but I'm not positive on that. And then there's obviously like written reports and things, so that the fee to these guys comes along with them doing our reporting and things like that. Because I got another email from the DOT about something that we owe them by the end of this year, and just confirmed with them that as a part of this consulting that they do our online forms.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to get on somebody's list for in the spring for that First Avenue Bridge, because I know we looked at wanting to do stuff 2 years ago, and it never got acted upon.
Yeah, probably best to be looking at it now so that we get on their list.
Yeah, because I know, Steve, probably 2 years ago, I talked with you under the Monroe Street Bridge, and we did.
I believe it was, yeah.
Not like,
And there's,
yeah, well, Steve, I seen Steve was there, so.
and there's reinforcing rod that's starting to spall in them.
Spall and sticking out, and the
That's not
approaches
good.
are caved in.
Yeah.
That's why it's such a.
Yep.
Yep, so we'll try to get with these contractors right away.
Was anything mentioned, I know 8 or 9 years ago, we sealed the First Avenue Bridge. And company out of Davenport did that. Is that, would Origin at least give us an idea of how often that
Should be
is
done,
required, or?
I can ask.
just out of curiosity, because the salt is terrible.
So you want to know what we did 8 or 9 years ago, how long they think
What
until
they
we have to do that
recommend
again?
for
Yeah, it's
intervals.
basically sealing. They took
Yeah.
the fences all down and whatever, and sealed the whole deck of the deck.
Anything else? If nothing, we are 16 reports. Fred's absent. Library Design Committee, I think we went through. And Lisa.
The park board had worked on the, one of their projects that they wanted to get done, which actually they had ordered the work to be done in the spring, but that didn't get done until 2 weeks ago, was to put on new door frames around the bathrooms at the city park. Obviously, everybody knows that we had that fire damage. Unfortunately, when you're dealing with juveniles, it is challenging to be able to kind of force kids to have to come in and talk to the police department without parental consent. We believe that we know who did it, but we don't have enough evidence to charge them. So Brad is still working on that, and we hope that. But I did have Service Master go up there, and the bill is $1,800 to clean it. So I sent that number to Brad to hopefully, I don't know what else we can do, because even if there's, another young person who explains what happened, the county attorney's not going to take one small child's word and give that as enough evidence for charges. So unless the council thinks that there's another idea, I was up there with Cindy, Fred, and I don't think it's fair to ask Cindy to do that cleaning. It's pretty
That's a little too much.
brutal soot. And then there's also the concern, like, we don't have explosion-proof lights, so we have to, take the power down, and then they have to, somehow wrap the lights up in the top. I showed the guys, to kind of try to figure this out for spring. Obviously, in a lot of communities where you have 24/7 police, the police officers are the ones that lock the parks at the end of the day, every night. But in one of the communities that I worked in, we had like basically a strike thing that was electronic with a timer. So I got that information and sent it to Phil, and I think before spring, we need to look at having those so that the bathrooms automatically close at 10 PM and that they're locked. Probably on all the bathroom doors, although because it's juveniles, I don't think that we think this is happening at 11 o'clock at night anyway. I think it's happening just at times where they just find that there's nobody around at the city park. So unless anybody objects, I'm going to proceed with having Kelchin Service Master clean them up. And then we'll obviously, when we have our next park board meeting, we haven't had one since this happened, but we'll talk more about options. And then I did send that information to Mike as well, that, I don't know if you have any comments, but, you know, people think like, why don't you have cameras? But we have to look at the whole global city government camera situation and not just kind of fling a decision out there to get a couple and then not invest in the system that is, you can explain that more, Mike, but just to get
Yeah,
enough
it-
capacity to record
So,
them.
because if you kind of randomly go out and do it, so like, say we go down to the park, and then you have to set up at the park and then run your system through there. So then, you know, in another couple of years, say we do another park or we do down here, and then we got all these separate systems everywhere, instead of looking at, okay, we got the park, we got, you know, the city hall, we got, you know, EMS, a couple other places that we can have an integrated system where we can monitor them like on like a secure site place where the cameras come in and everybody can go from one spot instead of trying to create multiple places, and then we got people running around everywhere. It takes a little bit more, but it'll be a more integrated system to be able to monitor. And then, like, you know, Fred can just, if something happens at the park, he can come back to City Hall, pull up the footage, and he's got what's going on at a different area. So it just makes it a lot easier for running around and doing. So if we're gonna do it and put those in, I think it's worth the time to sit down and look at a more all-inclusive, and that we can build off as we go too, system, so.
If they had more information, would they be able to file charges?
I think it has to be more people that can corroborate the story. And the person did
That-
speak to Brad and denied everything. So,
Were there parents involved at that point? Like, are the parents aware that this is the kid that we think did it?
yeah. We think that it perhaps happened before. So,
And
I just know I saw a lot of comments like, hey, what's everybody doing and why this and why that? And I think, you know, Fred and Brad do a good job of trying to follow up on these things, but you know, I've been in lots of police departments and we're talking murders where police officers know exactly who did it. And it doesn't mean that they have evidence that they can, in the justice system, charge them. So,
So the repairs, that falls under an insurance claim, or how?
it won't because our deductible is $5,000. So if it's only $1,800, there's no point in filing a claim because we'll just, you know, so the unfortunate part when we have things like this, you know, you balance, do you want to have a lower deductible to make more claims and then obviously pay more in premium, so.
It looked bad in the photographs. I mean, not knowing the extent of damage.
Yeah, so really, I had Bert up there and Brian Drew, two police, not police, obviously the fire chief and then another firefighter. They came up there as well, just to kind of make sure, and like it looks worse than it is, but it really is just soot because the
Soot.
main wall that it came up is concrete, so it really can't do anything to that. It's just nasty, gross.
I mean, a lot of cleaning.
has everybody gone down to see that?
I haven't gone down there, I just saw the
It's
pictures.
locked, so they can't see it.
No, I mean,
I mean,
to
if
get
you-
the key,
Yeah, if you
you
want
need
us-
to see the mess that made.
And
It's
clearly, whenever it
something.
happened, we got a call from someone that went to take their child in there on Tuesday morning of last week. And there were no footprints. Like, that mom took 2 steps into the girls, and there was no other footprints in there. So whenever it happened, whether it was Sunday or Monday, Nobody stepped foot in there because like as soon as you, I mean, there was like critter footsteps. Like you could see bugs or some creepy that looked like little tire tracks, but it was, and it just smells like burning plastic is toxic-y smelling. So Cindy was there. It's just, you know, it'd be cheaper for us to have her do it, but it's just not,
It's
it's
a
not
big
the kind of
job.
thing that she should have to clean. And she doesn't have the proper equipment where a service master's used to doing those dirty jobs.
Then we're looking at putting steel toilet paper holders back in there.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that, but I
That's the other
guess,
thing I was gonna ask, like, are there other updates we need to make while we're in doing all this?
yeah. We
Maybe
didn't
just-
talk about that,
Well,
but yeah, we
it's
can.
all concrete, so I mean, it's gonna wash out.
Yeah, it'll,
Everything will wash out fairly easy. There's not really,
It's really just covered, except for that one wall that, like, that's there. Maybe maybe you have to slap some paint on there and prime it first, or put that kilns or something, I don't know.
This is just so disheartening and disappointing. This community does so much for our youth, and for someone to go in there and do something like this is just, there are no words.
Yeah. So hopefully we can
get it cleaned up.
eliminate that in the future and get it cleaned up. Let's see what else. I think the only other thing is a reminder to everybody that the 7th is Election Day. I posted on Facebook. Requesting an absentee ballot would have ended today at 5 o'clock, but there is early voting at the courthouse. If anybody asks any of you about going, if they're not available on Election Day, they can go to the courthouse. Pretty much every day up until the Monday before the 6th, and then they did have, although it's over now, they did have a Saturday morning hours, but not this coming weekend. So if anybody's interested in that, they just go to the courthouse. And then otherwise, on Election Day, the Dubuque County residents come here, and then Jones County residents go to the EMS building, which I think everybody, that's where we've always gone, so. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Do you want to just go over the events for Saturday, for trick or treat and everything?
Yep, there's a couple that are, I don't remember the exact hours, but like Kerpers has something going on, and then there's another little side thing, but the official, like, trick or treat is from 4 to 5:30, and then we give an hour break for people to get ready for the parade, which is at 6:30, and then the firemen's dance, where they do their raffle tickets and things like that, starts at 8 o'clock at the Legion. I think that everyone should have received a mailer with 5 raffle tickets. So a reminder to turn those in. That's their biggest fundraiser for the year, to try and help with any things that they feel appropriate and necessary for the department. So, thank you.
Thank you. Number 17, public comment. You have a limit of 3 minutes per person and only items on this agenda. Seeing none. 18. We will adjourn into closed session pursuant to Iowa Code 21.5 L and I to evaluate the professional competency of an individual whose appointment, hiring, performance, or discharge is being considered when necessary to prevent endless and irreparable injury to that individual's reputation, and that individual requests a closed session for the public access channel position. At this point, I need a motion to go into closed session out of regular session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Motion by Roush,
Second.
second by Hush. Roll call.
Hush,
Aye.
Delaney,
Aye.
Oliphant,
Aye.
Kelchin,
Aye.
Roush.
Aye.
We are in closed session.
All right, so you have to box cast, right?
Hold on a second, we're trying to get there.
And we'll let you know when we're done, and then you come back in. I assume you're waiting